Goeienaand almal. Ek hoop julle kan my hoor en dat julle my screen can see. I hope you all can hear me and also see my screen. Tonight we're gonna look at power in DC circuits, and power is measured in watts, and it's the amount of power that gets used up that we need to calculate so that we can make sure that our circuit that we design can handle it. Devices that are resistive loads are heaters, kettles, incandescent lamps, which is very hard to get these days. So I guess that's history. So it will only be kettles and heaters. To calculate power or wattage, you use P equals VI, which would be power equals voltage times current. Now, the triangle that we use for calculating VIR works exactly the same, and it's very nice to use. And I did. Oh, there it is. So instead of VIR, you'll say PIV, and then it's very easy to manipulate the formula to do the necessary calculations. They say it's easy to remember. I agree. So the rate at which energy is used is known as power, and it is expressed in watts. So they've given us an example here. We've got a kettle that draws 5 amps at 240 volts, and we must calculate the power consumption or the wattage. So we know that the voltage is 240, and we times it by 5 amps. We try that again. And that is 1200 watts or 1.2 kilowatts. So remarkably, their calculation is indeed correct. Although kettles usually work off AC rather than DC, the section on AC power will show that the same formula applies, but only on resistive circuits. When you do calculations on AC on inductive circuits, then it's completely different, and we will get there. Let me take this out of the way. So Ohm's law is probably the most important formula in electronics, and once again, you can calculate different things over here, and in this case, we want to calculate the current. Why, I don't know. They've given that to us in the previous. But anyway, I guess they say here it's 48 ohms. So if we do that calculation, it's 240 divided by 48 equals 5 amps. That is correct. But I would have asked to calculate the resistance from this, but they didn't. Okay, P equals V times I, that we know now. I equals V divided by R. that we also know. Just take this out of the way. Okay, this is a whole explanation, and if you can actually calculate P by saying V squared divided by R, because if you have V, then if you use the other formula added into this one, V is V times V divided by R, so it's V squared divided by R. But like we said, you get a formula sheet. As long as you understand where this is used, then it's good. So if we pull our calculator closer once again, do that, say 240. Now I must hunt for that little squid. Somehow I think I had to use that. Let's see if it works out. Divided by. And once again, it's important to indeed be familiar with your calculator. Take that out the way. Right, so what I would suggest is take your calculator and calculate all of these things. Look, I skip a couple of steps, but you can do that step by step by first. You can say 240 squared, and that agrees, divided by 48 equals 1200, which is 1.2 kilowatts. There's a couple of other ways of getting to the same answer. Um, Here's another one, another calculation. We've got a 50 ohm resistor, has a current of 2 amp flowing through it. The power would be say bracket. No, let's first clear that out. Bracket 2, bracket 200 watts. It's always nice to just confirm that the answer in the book is actually correct. And then when you obviously do it with your calculator and you know that the answer is correct in the book and you get a different answer, then you know you're doing something wrong. But what can send you down a rabbit hole is if the book is wrong and you are actually correct, but you don't realize that. Sorry, just give me a moment. I've got this little tickle in my throat. Okay, now we can use Ohm's law to find voltages across resistors and calculate how much power the resistor must be able to handle in order to function normally in the circuit. Right, what they say here, batteries and mains power supplies, the moment you start drawing current through them, they tend to drop the voltage, and that's usually caused by the internal resistance. Now, and that's why the other night I said, when Louis said, if it's 0 ohms, then Ohm's law doesn't work anymore. But any power supply will, no matter how good it is, it will always have internal resistance. So that's the moment you connect something to, there's a voltage drop. A good example of that is lead acid batteries. When you connect the load onto that, there's a massive voltage drop because it's got a big internal resistance compared to lithium batteries. So lithium batteries are much better and much more efficient. Here's a circuit with a resistor and a power supply, and the current will this resistor is the source resistance, it's the internal resistance. So in some cases in a diagram, you'll find they'll draw this in and they'll give you the ohms so that you know what your internal resistance is. So if you know the current you're going to draw, you can actually calculate the voltage drop. And in some cases, like if you use a voltage regulator like LM7805, you need to be at least 3 volts above the regulating voltage for the regulator to function correctly. But if you have, for instance, you want to regulate 13.8 volts and you've got a power supply before the regulator that supplies 14.5 volts, uh, uh, um, you're going to run out of headroom, as we call it, because the moment you start to draw current, the voltage on the primary supply or the before the regulator is going to drop, which will prevent the regulator from properly regulating the voltage, and your voltage will drop on the regulator as well. The regulated voltage will drop. In most cases, for the average person connecting a radio to a power supply, this won't be an issue, but you need to know that it can happen. Here they just explain what's happening there at the top. Here they calculate the voltage drop, and it's basically Ohm's law. And without any figures in there, it's very difficult to explain because you can't show it how the calculation is done, but it's basically Ohm's law. Now, this setup that they use here to regulate or do voltage regulation, I have never seen a power supply like that, and I cannot see that it's got any use, because what you basically do is you're connecting a shunt resistor that will draw an enormous amount of power from the power supply in order to keep the voltage on a constant voltage. But because of the internal resistance, the moment your current's going to increase here, the voltage will vary over here. So um, you need to know that they can use this type of power supply, but please don't ever try and design something like this. It will be very inefficient. There's new technology, or well, new technology is relative, but they've got intelligent regulators these days that can regulate voltages very, very effectively. Here's just an explanation what they're doing there. I'm not going to go through that right now. This is something that's important, and this is not the mathematics behind this is not in the scope of our course, but or in the exam. But what you need to know is that if the circuit is most efficient if the load is matched to the internal resistance. So here there's your internal resistance, your load, and I just want to see where they say. Sorry, I did read it earlier. Now I can't find it. Hi, man. Sorry. Here it is. Although the mathematics is somewhat beyond the level of this course, it turns out that the load dissipates the maximum power when the load resistance is exactly equal to the source resistance. Right, so that you must just remember because that's a question that you will get in the exam. But why it's like that, we're not gonna. You don't need to know that. Then efficiency is the amount of power you put in divided by or the amount of power out divided by the amount of power in. So if you have a amplifier or a radio, HF radio, and it uses 150 watts when you're transmitting, and but it only puts out 100 watts. So then you will divide the output of 100 divided by 150, and that will give you 0.66 or what's it, 66% efficiency. Um, I have not seen an efficiency question in the exam, but I mean it's to a certain extent self-explanatory. What explanatory? Thank you, Marty, for helping me there.
Excuse me, may
Yes,
I ask a
yes,
question
yes,
quickly?
yes, absolutely.
That efficiency is that funny looking in.
That's correct, Joe.
Mm.
That is, but once again, you'll have a formula sheet. Have you guys seen the formula sheet? I think it's in the in the online system. We've also loaded it there. Um, I'll just get hold of a formula sheet and then I'll show it to you what it looks like. But all these formulas that you need to know is on there.
Okay, so that one we don't need to know because I don't see it on that
Yeah,
sheet.
no, I have not seen in all the uh, exam papers I've looked at and books. I have not seen the question of efficiency. I guess this is just for understanding that there's losses and you can't put 100 watt in and expect 100 watt out. Right. So, in summary, the power dissipated in a resistive load can be found using the formula P equals V times I. And like I explained, that triangle works very well to manipulate the formula to do the different calculations. Um, this formula can be combined with Ohm's law to give P equals I squared R and P equals V squared divided by R. In a example resistor, the power will be dissipated as heat. So that's why if you put too small a resistor in a circuit, it will smoke because it will overheat and the carbon or the wire wound will burn off. And that's why you would calculate the wattage of a resistor before you use it. We often use low value resistors in order to do voltage regulation. Um, because a transistor needs zero point 0.6 volts to switch on, we use that to then measure 0.6 volts over a resistor, and we use that voltage drop to switch the transistor on, that then in turns pull down the circuit that supplies the power, and in that way switching the main regulating transformers off, and that's a way of doing current regulation. So then if you reduce the value of that resistor, the actual current will go up because you will need more current through that resistor in order to get a zero point 0.6 volt voltage drop. Right, then they've got a couple of questions for us. A light bulb is rated at 12 volts and 3 watts. The current drawn when used with a 12-volt source is. So we know that we're going to divide 12. No, we're going to divide 3 by 12. And that's going to give us 0.25 amps, which would be 250 milliamps. And that would be then, my answer would be A, if I'm correct. Does everybody agree with me? See if my mic is unmuted.
Yes. 250
Okay,
hours
cool.
per free.
Okay, no, 100%. I was just wondering whether I'm talking to myself there for a moment.
No, I reacted with a thumbs up, and I think Cliff did as well. So
Oh, yeah, of course, I
instead
can't
of
see
speaking,
that. Yeah,
oh, sorry, I didn't
yeah,
know.
no, not a problem. Okay, the DC current drawn by a final stage of a linear amplifier is 100 milliamps. At 100 volts, how much power would that consume? is consumed. Okay, 100 milliamps, so that would be 0.1 amp. Or let's do it on screen. Sorry, I'm sitting with a calculator in my hand, and that doesn't help. See if I can resize this. I think it's at its smallest at the moment. Right, so we can either say in our heads that this would be 0.1 times 100. 0.1 times 100. So that will give us 10 watts, or we can say 100 to the minus 3 times 100 gives me 10 watts. So my answer there would be C. Does everybody agree with me?
Correct.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay, if a power supply delivers 200 watts of electrical power at 400 volt to a load, how much current does the load draw? So we know it's P equals VI or IV. So we're going to say we know it's 400 volts. So that would be 200 divided by 400.5. So that would be A.
Yes.
0.5 amps. Right, okay, we didn't actually read this. I should have marked it in the book. But the product of current and what force... No, let me start again. The product of the current and what force gives you the electrical power in a circuit. So in that case, it's not magneto... It is electromotive force. So that is D. I know there's a couple of others that sounds because you get a magnetic field, people tend to choose A, but it's not. It is electromotive force. Right. Resistor is rated at 10 watts. Which of the following combinations of potential difference and current exceeds the rating of the resistor? Resistor is 10 watts. So, okay, that one's immediately out because zero, if it's zero, then that would be zero. So it cannot be D.
I battled with this one.
I think it's C because I
Okay,
think we
let's
get,
do the C calculation.
yeah, I think we get 25 watts.
1,000 times. I should actually do it this way around because otherwise I'm now messing around myself. So it's 1 to the power of 3. Just do that. Times. We're doing what? Which one are we doing? C.
Yeah,
Okay,
C.
C. So that would be 25 to the minus 3 equals. That one exceeds it. So the others would be less. Am I correct? Because they ask which combinations of potential difference can exceeds the rating of the resistor. So C definitely exceeds it. Let's just check another one for that one. 2 volts
Zero.
won't. Yeah, so that's the only one that exceeds it. So C is the correct answer. Is there anybody that don't understand why we say C is the correct answer?
Could you just do a quick calculation with one of the other values just for comparison?
Okay, no, certainly.
Thanks.
Let's say 2. I'm doing A. 2 times 100 to the minus 3. So that's 0.2 watt. So it's definitely not that one. So we're going to 20 volt times 200 to the minus 6. So it's definitely not that one. And D, I mean, would be 0. But just to confirm, it's say 0. I wonder if this calculator is going to accept this move. To the minus 3 times. Let me just go back there. Let's put this in brackets just to keep it separate. Times 2 equals 0. Okay, so it's definitely not D. So the only one it can be is C. Right, what happens here? The starter motor of a motor car draws 200 amps from a 12-volt battery. How much power does it use? So this is... Let's see if you guys can calculate this one.
I got 2.4 kilowatt.
Same.
Correct, 2.4 kilowatt. What's the resistance of this motor in question?
Yes,
Just
16.
yeah. Just V divided A or V divided I guess.
60 milliamps. Ohms, sorry.
Yeah.
60 milliohm. Everybody agree?
Yep.
The internal resistance of a car battery is found to be 0.2 ohms. Into what load resistance will it deliver maximum power?
B.
B, bravo.
B for
Bravo.
Bravo.
Yeah. Bravo.
Correct, yes. Yeah, that's just something you've got to remember, that the resistance, internal resistance and the load must be the same. That is like an easy point to, or easy marks to get. At its peak, a lightning bolt has a voltage of 100 megavolt and a current of 10 kiloamp. How much power does it deliver at that moment?
10 to the 12. So it's
I
a
think
trillion.
10 to the 12. Oh, let me just do
Yeah.
it on
It's
the screen. Yes,
a
100.
trillion watts.
Yes, a lot.
There was a lot of zeros.
No. No, Mike. Let's start again. 100 to the 6 times 10 to the 3. And that is indeed. No, but something's not right here. We said D.
Yes. So it's just doesn't have the significant digit 1. So it's still
Yeah, but
the
then
same.
it's if we move, then that's going to be 10 to the 11.
No, because 1 times 10 to the 12 is still 10 to the 12. So if you had like
Oh, I see.
10,
Okay, sorry. No, then
yeah,
it's
or
D.
0
Sorry,
point.
yeah. 1 times
No,
10 to the
no
12 is
worries.
10.
No. Also
Good.
thought about that.
Yeah, so sometimes it's good to just challenge, that answer, and then you look at it again and you realize, but it is indeed correct. Okay, a current of 2 milliamps is measured in a 1 kilo ohm resistor. How much power is the resistor dissipating? Okay, so it is 1 amp. I mean, 2 milliamps. So it's going to be bracket open 2. Um, what did we say? It is uh,
times
I
10 to the,
squared R.
yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So that.
I think we must square it after the exponent. But I think it will work out the same actually.
Let's see what happens here. One. I'm just gonna say 1, 3. Yeah. Right. So try again. Current is I squared. You say I'm gonna square it after the.
After the exponent. So yeah, put in brackets. Otherwise it's going to be too big, I think.
So you say something like this.
Yeah, 2 times 10 to the negative 3, and then all of that squared.
I see what you say. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we
Oh,
square that.
yeah, otherwise I think we'll just get like uh might actually end up.
So that's B, 4 milliwatt.
Yeah.
That's what I got, yeah.
Okay, 100%. Good. And that is it. Any questions? Right, so what I've done is I've made up a resistor, let's call it a resistor calculation questionnaire that you can download out of the chat. I'm losing control of my machine now. I want to be there. This one here. So if I've put it there in the chat where you can download it. Let me just get it here open on my screen. I tried to make it that you can fill the things in, but after printing it, it's a bit small. So I would suggest you use a separate page to do the calculation. Let me just see if it's there. It's not there. there. Open it with this. Mm-hmm. Right, so the first three, you can calculate the uh, total resistance, and then you can calculate the voltage drop, and you can calculate the power through each resistor. So on this sheet, I would suggest you must be able to do until the third one here. If you can get these three right, and you can calculate every single thing that there is to calculate, you'll be okay. These are for the overachievers, and then this is another one that if you can do this one, then you can call yourself the Grand Master of resistor calculations, because then you can really do it. So in this case, we'll add them together. These you'll use the RT over R 1 over R1 plus 1 over R1 R2, and then in this one's case, you will first calculate those two resistors, add the value together, then you'll calculate the uh, value in parallel, and then you'll add that value to this one, and then calculate your current, and then from there your current splits up, and you calculate the drop through each one of these resistors. Now this is a useful circuit, because in a lot of cases people always ask me to calculate the resistor that they must use to connect the LED onto, for argument's sake, a normal car battery, 12 volt. Most LEDs can handle 20 milliamps, so you need to calculate the resistance value to have a current flowing through this circuit of 20 milliamps, because otherwise the LED is going to let its smoke release. This is the typical, I told you about the voltage regulators. 317 is a variable voltage regulator. We're going to still do transformers. You know what the bridge rectifier is. Oh yeah, one of the other lecturers could not present his class on classes on capacitors, so I'm going to do that as well. So I think it's in the next week we're going to do capacitors, and then you'll understand what this also means. This is a very handy power supply, but this device can only handle 1.2 amp or 1.5 amp, but with a reasonably simple circuit, you can add transistors to handle the big current. In this circuit, look, we will still get here to transformers. There's two lamps, 12 volt, 55 watts. We need to put fuses in so that if any one of these lights blow, causes a short circuit, the fuse will blow, and this fuse won't blow unless there's a major fault on so that both of these go over current. And then that's the one for the overachievers. This one over here, Grandmasters. So once again, you will first calculate this, And in this case, then you'll calculate these two, and then you'll use your parallel formula to calculate the value of this combination. And then once you've got that, you'll add all of these together and you'll get your current. And once you've got your current, then you can calculate back and calculate the voltage drop, the power, and the current through each one of these resistors, because here the current will divide and then it will come back together again, and so on. That should keep you entertained for a while. Is there any questions?
Sorry, Henry, just go back down to the Grandmaster.
Okay.
That resistor that's in the middle of the two parallels, is that a 2K2 or is that a typo?
Okay, no, you see that I deliberately did that and I actually forgot. Good that you look at that. In some cases, they will substitute, instead of putting the R there, they will substitute it with an E. So 2E2 is a 2.2 ohm resistors. They can write it 2R2 or 2E2. And I deliberately put that in there so that, well, I forgot about it, but so that somebody that's sharp will pick it up.
I think you did read something about it. So, okay, yeah, I need to go study again. Okay, yeah, it's
Yeah.
equivalent to R. All right.
You see here also 220E. Yeah, so E is equivalent to R.
Yeah.
And
so it's
then
just normal ohms,
sometimes you'll find that they use, instead of V equals IR, they'll write E equals IR. And that can cause also confusion, because in our world it's V equals IR, but then, so if you see E equals IR, just don't get confused. The E is a V. And in this case, the E is an R. And then, okay, the squiggly resistors we did. This particular program that I used, KiCad, to draw this, uses the square resistor, but you will get diagrams that uses the squiggly thing for a resistor, so that then you also know that it's a resistor. And a LED, that is an LED, because a LED is actually a diode, light emitting diode, and the two arrows points away from it. It means it's making light. If the arrows are pointing towards the diode, then it means it's a sensor. It's a light sensor, so it senses light. And if you get a squiggly resistor with a circle around, that would be a light, a lamp, incandescent lamp. Oh, the other thing is, in a lot of cases, with capacitors, you'll see over here it's a UF, but because it's such a pain in the backside to get a micro sign on a computer, the general consensus is that 1,000 UF is actually 1,000 microfarads. But like I say, we'll get to capacitors, but I'm just saying that so that if we get there, and I forget to tell you that UF is actually microfarad, that you know that.
Excuse me, where will we be able to see this so I can print it?
It's in the chat. If you click on the chat at the top here and you scroll back, there's a couple of messages that went through. Yeah, here it says PIRC resistors, and then you can click on that and download it.
I think I can't see that because it was before
Okay, I
I
tell you
joined the
what,
chat.
I'm gonna just share it on the WhatsApp group as well, and I'll maybe just add it again. Let me just see here. See if you can see it now.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, 100%. Right, any questions? Let me just see. I saw somebody was hanging on. Did he get in? Johan was trying to get in. I don't know whether somebody let him in.
Hi, it's Rudy. I let him in.
Oh, thank you very much. 100%. Is there any questions? Any more questions?
It's Rudy. I've got lots of questions, but I also know I haven't had time to go through the work properly. So I'll go through the work in the next few days because last week I was full day meetings until late evening and that. So I'll work through it, and then if I get stuck, then I'll get into contact with you guys.
100%, not a problem. You guys do know that we've got a YouTube channel where we load all of this onto, where you can obviously go and watch the recorded sessions, and you can watch the previous recorded sessions of the previous exam or course. And I would suggest, if you have a chance, just watch the previous one as well, because sometimes we say things that we don't necessarily repeat in every uh, presentation. So it's beneficial to watch them both if you know, obviously, if you've got a chance. Is there anybody that don't know about the YouTube channel?